Welcome to Arizona Decodes, a playlist that I have on this channel, Daily Decodes 812, as I am in Arizona and I like to do these videos and these decodes every so often. When this first popped up in my feed, I thought it was a recent story. I put the decode together and I found out this was a year ago. I think it popped up because it was the year anniversary. But this has been happening a lot with some of the news stories. They'll pop up like they're brand new trending, and it's like by some kind of pattern, or I don't know, like some glitch or something with the algorithm. So I put all this together, and then I found out the story was from a year ago. And, when it popped up, I saw nothing about, oh, the 1 year anniversary. I saw nothing about that. It just kind of popped up like it was new. So I'm just going to kind of roll with it. And then if there's any corrections or anything on the fly, I'll just present it as we go. So, infamous prisoner accused of killing 3 inmates at a state prison, Ricky Wassenaar. Okay. Notorious Arizona inmate. He's serving 16 life sentences for a 2004 prison hostage standoff, accused of killing 3 fellow inmates on April 4th, 2025. Saul, Alvarez, Thorne, Harnage, and Donald Lashley, all in the single day on April 4th. This was Arizona State Prison, Tucson. Wassenaar confessed to the killings, claimed he targeted the men because they were convicted of child S crimes, and stated he felt he was doing a service, according to azfamily.com and the Arizona Mirror. And, amongst inmates in prison, they'll accept that kind of as like a code, like, that's acceptable. Anybody with those type of crimes. And, there's probably not a lot of people who could argue against that. But they said he strangled one of them. I think one of them was his cellmate. Let me see if I can find it. Of course, it's not here now. I'll ask. I'll ask Google again. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not popping up there. But let me. I'll ask Google again. How did Ricky Wassenaar? Man, he's got a difficult name. Let's see. Let me ask AI. So look over here. I know I butchered his name. Strangulation, a combination of strangulation, stabbing, and blunt force trauma. He claimed his actions were a targeted effort to rid the world of child touchers. Okay, strangulation, stabbing, and blunt force. So again, this was a year ago, and I'll play this video.
3 inmates are dead after an altercation at the Arizona State Prison here in Tucson this morning. The Arizona Department of Corrections says there is no ongoing threat at the prison. Officials stated they plan to pursue prosecution against any suspects involved. Now, there are few details as to exactly what happened. We're told a criminal investigation has been launched. Be sure and stay with News 4 Tucson as we learn about more of what happened.
All right, again, this was in Tucson, Arizona. So I put the 2026 date in originally, and I'll show you even with the corrections how everything still lands here, right? So look at this. So originally taking this year's date, 48 days after Arizona's birthday was this stabbing, when Arizona's the 48th state. and Arizona equals 84 in the language. Now look at the corrections over here. I'll just go ahead and use this right here. So this was actually 2025. So take Arizona's birthday, Valentine's Day, and it was actually on 4/4, April 4th, 2025. Okay, so look, it's still 48 days in between the two dates. And again, Arizona, the 48th state, and Arizona equals 84 in the language. Look when I scroll down. So the stabbing was actually on the 94th day. Look at that, 49 days after Arizona's birthday. So you get 49 and 94, which is reversed. You see that? Now look, notice that Arizona's birthday is the 45th day of the year. And we just had April 5th even a few days ago. And when you look at the article here, look at the article date 4/5. Check that out. And 4/5 was Easter. That's interesting because Arizona's birthday is Valentine's Day. So you get the two holidays there. So even with the correction, you still get that 48 days in between the two dates. And this was Martin Luther King Jr., his death anniversary as well, 4/4. And Arizona, the last state to recognize his birthday as a holiday, Civil Rights Day, on top of that, right? So, again, 49 days after Arizona's birthday, on the 94th day, which is reversed. Okay, so back over here. Since I already put these together, uh, let's say it did happen this year, you could see again how it would still land right there. So again, this is kind of like the 1 year anniversary of the killing of these three inmates. And killing equals 43. So again, this is 1 year later. And look at the Friday that syncs up with the date here is 4/3. But again, this was actually last year on Friday, which was 4/4. Even kill equals 44 in the language, right? So it's everything still lines up. Look, kill equals 44. Okay? So no matter what, this kind of exposes this language and these numbers. Now, April 3rd, I guess I'm trying to think of a way to say it. So it's like 1 day before the 1 year anniversary, but it's the Friday if it were to be this year than last year on the Friday, if that makes sense. But look at this last Friday, the 93rd day of the year, and Arizona equals 39, which is reversed. The 39th prime number is 167. The killer's name equals 167. Ricky Wassenaar. One of the victims, Donald Lashley, and I'm like, okay, let me look at this famous Lashley on the world stage, this wrestler, Bobby Lashley. And look at how you get the 16 connection, because this prisoner is serving 16 life sentences already for a hostage situation. And Bobby Lashley on the world stage, born on the 16th of July, even Arizona's birthday, 2/14. 2 plus 14 is 16, right? He was convicted along with Stephen Coy of taking two guards, one man and one woman, hostage for 15 days at Arizona State Prison Lewis Complex in Buckeye. 15, remember Arizona equals 105 in the language, which is like 15. I mentioned that a lot with these Arizona videos. Something I just caught as well, that was the hostage situation in 2016, or did it say 2004? I think it was 2004. uh Look at I think it was 2004. But notice how he was convicted with this guy Stephen Coy. That reminds me of Carlos Coy, who is the South Park Mexican, the rapper. And he check this out. Here's the rapper SPM. Oh, it's not going to pull up the rapper. Here's the rapper SPM South Park Mexican. His full name is Carlos Coy. So you get the same last name right there. Now look at this. He's accused of having underage relations as well. And now you get his last name in this story. Wow, look at his birthday is 105. So that completely proves it right there. Look at this. Real name Carlos Coy. Look, and you get the 45 that just connected here. Wow, this stuff is fake. South Park Mexican, real name Carlos Coy, convicted in 2002 of aggravated SA of a 9-year-old girl, sentenced to 45 years in prison, convicted of inappropriately touching her, denied parole in early 2025. Look at this. So you get the Coy last name and you get 45 years in prison. And I just showed you Arizona's birthday is the 45th day of the year. Look at that right there. And we just had April 5th, which is 4/5 the other day. That's wild. And look at Arizona equals 105. SPM, his birthday is 105, October 5th. That's amazing. Look at that connection right there. This is a South Park Mexican right here. Okay? His name Coy. And again, this guy, Ricky Wassenaar, convicted along with Stephen Coy of taking two guards, one man, one woman hostage for 15 days. And again, 10/5 is like 15. Wow, that's wild. That whole SPM connection, you get the Coy name, you get Bobby Lashley, WWE wrestler, connected with Donald Lashley, inmate killed here. You get the SA connections, again with SPM. Here's another victim right here, Saul Alvarez. Can you believe it? Look at his name, 138 in the ordinal cipher. Look at his prison number. His ID number starts with 138. Number 138773 was admitted to ADCRR custody in 2004 after being sentenced out of Maricopa County for first-degree murder. Look at that. So he dies. I didn't see the specifications of how all three died. They said strangulation, maybe like a stabbing, blunt force. Look at the article date. April 5th, 2025. There's that other 45, right? So the article hit one day after the killing. And remember, Arizona's birthday, the 45th day of the year. SPM, I think it said 45 years. Now look at this, 138 with the article. Inmate number 138 to begin, his ADC number, and his name equals 138. And he's one of the victims here. So that's amazing.
3 inmates are dead after a violent altercation inside an Arizona state prison, and the suspect is already one of the most notorious inmates in the system. Authorities say Ricky Wassenaar, a prisoner serving 16 life sentences, attacked and killed 3 fellow inmates at a Tucson facility on April 4, 2025. The victims were identified as Saul Alvarez, Thorne Harnage, and Donald Lashley, each serving time for serious crimes. Wassenaar isn't new to headlines. He was involved in a 15
Look, and that was a 15-day prison hostage. I don't know. Did we mention that? I might have mentioned it. 15 days. And again, 105 is like 15. I might have mentioned that.
day prison hostage standoff back in 2004, one of the longest in U.S. history. Officials say
I remember that too. Wow.
he acted alone, and the incident is now under investigation. The killings have raised serious questions about safety and control inside the prison system, and now authorities are working to figure out how this happened.
So if I were to show you this story next year on the Friday that's closest to the date, you would still get all of those same connections. That's the thing with these stories and these patterns repeating. Yeah, there it is right there, the 15-day standoff. Wow, I remember that. I was like 23, 24 years old. So completely wild. Wild. So again, this story was a year ago, and just to clarify again, I put together some of these slides based on this year, and then when I was done, I found out it was last year. But I still show you that it still all connects. 48 days in between Arizona's birthday and the killings. Arizona, the 48th state. Arizona equals 84 in the language. And again, that's 49 days after the birthday on the 94th day of the year right there. And remember, Arizona's birthday, the 45th day of the year, the article was on 4/5, April 5th. So all of this stuff is with numbers. Okay. And again, here's this year, kind of like the 1 year anniversary with the Friday at least. And you see how it still connects. So what's up with the language here? There's like an algorithm controlling all of these stories. And once again, this popped up like it was brand new news in my algorithm. I'm like, okay, this must have just happened. Shout out to Janae Schneider as well, who mentioned this in my DMs about this. I don't know if she was aware that it was a year ago. She was bringing it up to me like it was new. And, now we find out this was a year ago. And again, it's popping up because it's like the 1 year anniversary, which it was weird. So, yeah, I did this whole decode thinking that this was just recently. And I don't see any other. So, what day was that standoff that this guy had in 2004? That's interesting, huh? Again, here's SPM with that connection. And there may be some kind of connection with like ICE. This guy's South Park Mexican. He's out of Houston. But there may be some kind of that energy too. That 105 was amazing with the 45 connection. And he has the last name Coy as the inmate that was charged with Wassenaar in that hostage standoff. And Arizona equals 105. That's amazing right there. So again, this stuff is all with the language. But let me see what day that hostage situation. Let's see, hostage date. January 18. Right there. So let me see. Oh, look, it ended 12 days before Arizona's birthday with that hostage situation. Now, how many days after this anniversary was these last year's killings? Let's see. So 118, 2025, 4 2025. Ooh, look at that. 10 weeks and 6 days, these three inmates get killed by the same guy who held the officers hostage. Um, 10 weeks, 6 days after that anniversary. Look, that's 105. 10 weeks, 5 days in between the two dates. So there's another 105 in there. So pretty wild. Let's pull this back up. I apologize if this comes off a little bit confusing because I had to make those. Wow, Stephen Coy was 39 years old and Arizona equals 39. So that's both of these guys took the guards hostage. 15-day incident. Wow, one of them was age 39, not this guy, the other guy. And look, the Arizona 39, and if this were to be this year, it would be the 93rd day. And you get that 39th prime number in there. So, wow. So, again, I apologize if that was slightly confusing. I didn't want to erase all of it. I just figured I would present as if it were this year, the 1 year anniversary on the same Friday, even though it was one day before the 1 year anniversary, but it was still Friday. I figured I would present that information and then show you the corrections and how it still all landed. We had Bobby Lashley, WWE connection with the last name to this story. Carlos Coy, aka South Park Mexican, with the same last name connected to this story, which is connected to the other story involving this same inmate. So this guy's going nowhere anytime soon, and I didn't see anything that's going to come of this. I don't know, but that's my decode. A to Z Arizona decodes. Infamous prisoner accused of killing three inmates at Arizona State Prison. This was out of Tucson. So I guess we could call this like the year anniversary. Until next time. I don't think I have another video, do I? I don't know. If you're still here, let me see if I got. Oh, did we play it?
Three inmates are
Yeah, we played it. All right, until next time.